Look, I hate to put it like this, but I know for a fact that if you are here, Allah has already given me at least one thing of what you're chasing. I was a young kid not practicing Islam. Then Allah Azza wa Jal guided me to wanting to seek knowledge. Spent 6 years studying in Egypt, 3 years in Mauritania. I was broke, then Allah Azza wa Jal guided me to knowing how to run a business. I built a $1 million business. Got myself in shape. I've pretty much got a taste of all of this. And I can tell you two things. First thing is that there wasn't nothing as sweeter as sacrificing my whole life to seek knowledge. And the second thing is that whatever you are trying to accomplish in life, it's not going to happen except with the principles and teachings that we are going to go over this video. Because unless you are able to take control over your life, you won't be able to achieve anything. So please pay attention. This might be the biggest shortcut you have ever been handed in your life. Alhamdulillah, wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathira. Amma ba'du. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this full guide. This is my life protocol that I have used to accomplish any goal that I have set my mind to accomplish. And I have accomplished. And I am so excited for this because this is the most important skill that anybody can have in order for you to achieve any other goal or ambition you might have in life. So getting straight into it, what we are going to be talking about in this guide is on how to take control over your life. Okay, chapter 1 is going to be about understanding how your environment infects you. And yes, infects you. I want to use this keyword. So understanding the profound impact of your environment and consumption of your mind and soul. So we, through these, are going to know how to be able to remove any distractions that are around us. Second chapter will be about having a life mission. Life becomes overwhelming and stressful when you don't have a life mission. So defining your purpose is what we are going to be doing to overcome, overwhelm, and create a focused, meaningful existence. Now with this chapter, which I think that is the most important one and the one that I've seen that my students who learn Arabic at Andalus Institute and hundreds of people have spoken to, I've seen that this is the thing that's lacking. Because when you don't have a life mission, you are not emotionally attached to anything. So you don't necessarily have anything that's pushing you to wake up every day and go and be great. So I have prepared these 3 pages, front and back, and I have called it the Life Mission Clarity System. Now in this full guide, I want to give you this, and this will appear at one point throughout the video in order for you to see the link where this is at, and in there as well, there's going to be a video so you can do this with me at the same time. So I'm going to go over these steps on how to determine your life mission in a video. So then you can go ahead, download this, print it out, and watch that video with me so we can finally have a life mission that will allow us to wake up every day with purpose, with intention. Okay, and we'll talk more about it on chapter 2. Then on chapter 3 is going to be about aligning your life mission with Allah's pleasure. So many times we just don't know what our life mission should be. So in this chapter, what we are going to do is to align our aspirations and the things we want to accomplish in life with Allah Azza wa Jall's pleasure, so we can make our Iman and preserving our Iman and actually apply the ayah where Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ, and don't die except that you are upon al-Islam, upon the submission of Allah Azza wa Jalla. We are going to make sure that we define a mission and we talk about and debunk the steps on how to define a mission that allows us to have a mission that is directly aligned with the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal. And then in the conclusion, we are going to talk about how knowledge is key and how embracing the pursuit and spread of knowledge, especially Arabic, is the foundation of everything. This is the most important part. This is why I have left it for the end. So I hope that you want to change your life enough that you will actually pay attention throughout the guide So you can get this step-by-step guide on how to determine your life mission, your yearly goals, and your daily routines with this template, and that you want to change your life enough. So we get to the last chapter, and at the end of this full guide, I promise you that things are going to be more clear in regards of how to actually and practically live your life with purpose and intent. So you make sure that every day that you wake up, you have a goal, and you don't just wake up and start wandering and be affected by your environment, and every other week you want to do something new, and at the end of the day you never accomplish. I want to take a quick moment to point out something important that I want you to watch after you watch this whole full guide. The first link in the description is a 1-hour video where I explain and I show student testimonials and student progress on how they have learned the Arabic language and how I have learned the Arabic language. It's important that the person, once they understand the life mission, which as a Muslim most of the time should be, and it will be, seeking knowledge, you should start with the Arabic language. So after you have watched this video, inshallah, go ahead and click the first link in the description and go ahead and watch how I have learned the Arabic language if you are interested in learning the Arabic language. And if it's something that you have been wanting to do, but you don't know where to start, how to start, and so on. Back to the full guide. Straight into it. Chapter number 1 is how your environment affects you. And I wanted to use this keyword, which is infect you, because the reality is that it infects you more than it affects you. Now you need to understand and be very careful about what you let into your system. So think of your body, of your mind as a system, as a vessel that you need to protect. And you need to understand that there is infection that can enter through your eyes, through your ears, and through the energy of the people around you. Now, the people you see, the ones you listen to, the ones you sit with, and the company you keep, those people have great effect on you. And we all know the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ where he says, Al-mar'u ala dini khalilihi fanzur man tukhalil, that the companion is upon the religion of his companion, or the person is upon the religion of his companion. So you need to be very careful who you take as a companion. But now let's debunk this idea a little further so we can actually understand it by looking deep into what's actually meant by this. Now, this quote right here is a quote in the book, The Art of War. It says, there is infection in everything, even sleepiness can be infectious, and yawning can be infectious. There is even the infection of a time. In large-scale military science, when adversaries are excited and evidently are in a hurry to act, you behave as though you are completely unfazed, given the appearance of being thoroughly relaxed and at ease. Do these, and adversaries themselves are influenced by this mood, becoming less enthusiastic. When you think opponents have caught that mood, you empty your own mind and act quickly and firmly, thus to gain the winning advantage. In individual martial arts as well, it is essential to be relaxed in body and mind. Notice the moment an opponent slackens and quickly take the initiative to win. There is also something called entracing that is similar to infection. One entracing mood is boredom. Another is resentlessness. Another is faint-heartedness. These should be worked out thoroughly. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this is because I really like, in how eloquently it's been explained in English, and how as well, and the thing that I want to emphasize on is how, elite level of all sorts of endeavors in life have noticed this, have noticed that there is infection in every single thing, even in things like, in the military and the types of strategies that they have to attack and to defend. They have seen that any and every little thing can infect the person in front of you. So imagine if at large scale, in a military scale, infect somebody through this. Imagine what can happen at a low scale. And of course, we don't need these this type of quotes and this type of books to understand this, because our scholars have mentioned this before. As you can see here, Ibn al-Qayyim, he says, As-Salikin, he says, the nature of the soul is that it catches infection from others. If your companion is righteous, his goodness will pass to you. If he is corrupt, his corruption will pass to you. A good companion is like a perfume seller, and a bad one is like a blacksmith blowing fire. So as you can see here, Ibn al-Qayyim, he uses the same word, which is infection, adwa, which was widespread as well in the years of COVID. You know, adwa in Arabic is the word that we often heard. So Ibn al-Qayyim, he used very interestingly this same word, infection, just like in the book, The Art of War. Likewise, Ibn al-Qayyim, he says, souls meet and either connect or clash. Just as the body catches infection, the heart catches influence from who you sit with. A person follows the religion and habits of his close friends. Now, why am I sharing this? I'm trying to get to a point and to a fitna that has entered every house of everywhere, of pretty much the whole world, unless that family is really poor. And even poor families right now, they have this fitna in their house. So the point that I wanted to get to is that nowadays we have a new form of companionship. Now, this new form of companionship has entered every single household, and it's distracting pretty much every single person, at least the average person. Now, in the past, it was difficult to sin or to even be corrupted. You had to sit physically with someone for them to pass on their ideas to you. But today, your phone can replace that bad companion. It's just in your hands. You can now see, you can hear, you can interact with all kinds of influences through a single phone screen. For most people, their phone has become their worst companion. And this is so powerful because right now, Shaitan is working with the algorithms. If the algorithm of your phone catches you one day that you are weak, right? So on average, you are very, taqi, and you can basically control yourself and not scroll through the things that you shouldn't be scrolling. But there's going to be one day, there's going to be one night where you're going to be weak, and the algorithm will see that night somehow you will spending more time on these type of things, right? And obviously, I'm just using the social media as an example. But it could be just companions that, long conversations, right? Especially for the youngsters who are trying to get married. There's a stage in life where you wasting all your time talking to this one and talking to that one and going back and forth, and heartbreaks happen before they shouldn't happen. And all of these because of you being weak is just in the tips of your fingers. Now, before you had to actually go out, you had to actually perhaps, go somewhere and actually spend time, and through the path or while you was going there, you might change your mind. But right now it's as quick as on your phone. So first of all, we need to realize this danger. And I want to emphasize on this. And obviously the infection of your environment can be for each person one thing or another. It could be a very close friend, like it could be a family member. Your family, your mom, your father, your parents can be the biggest infection that you might be challenged, might facing that challenge with. So that's just an example, but I know for a fact that the average person right now, they are being infected by their phones on a day-to-day basis. So realizing the danger, first of all, is the most important step, and it's the first step. And we need to realize that how dangerous and destructive your phone can be. It can be the source of both spiritual and mental infection, because you can see, you can hear, and you can literally, have a companion of somebody. Like, you can be watching a stream of some random dudes wasting their lives, just making jokes and bringing girls and whatever they doing in these streams, that people just sits with them and just watches them, and they generally feel like they are with them. So now somebody can be live on social media, and he can be your best companion, and every day you might be infected by him, and now every day you're looking forward to meet this companion again. Now, so you need to guard what enters through your system, because what you consume becomes who you are and what you are. What your system is busy with will define you. You need to realize that your internal system is most busy doing. You need to find what is the thing that you are most busy doing. Because whatever it focuses on the most, that's what will shape your nature. If your system is more focused on people, problems, or distractions than the remembrance of Allah, then that's what your heart will reflect. So if instead of doing dhikr, if instead of revising your Quran every day, if instead of seeking knowledge and doing what Allah Azza wa Jal has said, that is what your heart will find peace with. Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Isn't it with the remembrance of Allah that your heart finds peace? Likewise, the Prophet ﷺ reported by Ibn Abi Shayba in Jami' Bayan al-Ilm wa Fadlihi, in the book by Ibn Abdul Barr. It's reported that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said, "Ad-dunya mal'una mal'unun ma fiha illa dhikrullah wa ma wala aw alim aw muta'allim." That the dunya, this dunya is cursed. Wa ma fiha, and whatever it contains, except for the dhikr of Allah and whatever is linked to it, or a scholar or a seeker of knowledge. Everything else is just a waste of time. There's nothing else that matters in this life. You need to see and look at yourself. How far are you from this? How far are you from constant dhikr of Allah? Whether it's through learning, whether it's through listening, whether it's through your righteous companionship, that is dhikr of Allah as well. Whether it's through taking care of your parents, that is linked to the dhikr of Allah, because Allah Azza wa Jalla commanded you to do so. What is not related to the dhikr of Allah is you wasting your time on social media, watching this comedy show, watching this influencer that always talks about something that will not benefit your dunya or your akhirah. All of that is what's cursed, is what will waste your time. So we need to realize what is our internal system busy doing. So if it's more focused on people, on this conversation with this person, spending, I've seen women spending 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours on the phone just stalking with no benefit at all. Just what this one said, what that one said, no benefit at all. What you consume is what you will become. Your friends' problems, if you're always hearing your friends' problems, you take on their emotions. Social media, if you're constantly on social media, your desires are shaped by what you see. If you're listening to music, if you're still listening to music, those subliminal messages change your feel and think. Now you're listening to drill, now you feel a type of way. You're listening to R&B, now you feel a type of way. You're listening to jazz, now you feel another type of way. You listen to reggae, now you feel another type of way. So if someone achieves something and you see it on social media, now all of a sudden it's what you feel like you want to do. Everything you allow, it starts to change you. So if you, and what we are trying to get with this chapter, is that if you don't take care, what goes into your system through your eyes, through your ears, through what you watch, through your companionship, the energy you absorb from them, if they constantly talking, complaining, you will catch on the energy, and the heart will then go ahead and mirror what it's given. So if you feed your system distractions all day, then that's what your heart becomes. If you feed your system the remembrance of Allah, then your heart grows in light and clarity. What enters your system, your ears, your eyes, becomes your reality. So the solution is to feed your soul with dhikr, as we have said. Once you realize your environment, how your environment affects your nature, your desires, and your goals, you must take control of what your system consumes. So prioritize dhikr above all else. Prioritize the remembrance of Allah above all else. Because if you give more attention to anything other than Allah, that thing will become your obsession and distraction from what's more and most important. And when we say dhikr of Allah, the best dhikr of Allah, as Ibn Qayyim said, is the reading the Quran, pondering upon it, learning it, and understanding it. This is the best dhikr of Allah. So knowledge is a dhikr of Allah, as we have said. And obviously the best source of knowledge is the Quran. Ibn Rajab said that Ibn Mas'ud said, the remembrance of Allah grows faith, Iman, in the heart, just like water grows plants. So remembering Allah Azza wa Jal is what will increase your Iman. Now, if your Iman is high, is what will protect you from going astray. And most of the times, the things that have you go astray, which will then cause you to not be disciplined, which will then cause you to not be able to control your life, which will then cause you to not be able to control your actions, is low faith. Somebody who has high Iman, why do you think that the righteous predecessors, they were so capable of accomplishing what they have accomplished from all the books they have authored, and being that consistent, seeking knowledge of Islam? It was only because it was a loop. They were constantly feeding their Iman. And so when your Iman stays high, what happens is that you are able to control yourself. And this is what Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ فَأَضَلَّهُ اللَّهُ. Have you seen that one that has taken his desires as his Lord, i.e. he worships his desires. فَأَضَلَّهُ اللَّهُ, so Allah misguided him. The biggest skill that a Muslim can have to have high Iman is controlling one's self. That's what Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَوَى. That whoever fears the day he will be standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla and is able to forbid and control his nafs from desires, then Jannah will be his last destination. So there's two things that Allah Azza wa Jalla said that will give you your last destination. Continuously thinking that one day you will stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And second of all, controlling your nafs. And this is what we are talking about today. So the fact that the Muslim, at-taqi, the righteous Muslim, has this constant, continuous thought that I will have to one day stand in front of Allah. That's what keeps his Iman going. And therefore allows him to control his nafs, to control his desires, which is discipline, which is controlling your life. So this is why it's important to first of all understand how your environment infects you and that your system is a vessel. So therefore you need to be very careful what you spend time doing, how much time you spend on social media, and who you give access to this vessel. And it's from lack of spiritual hygiene for you to give access to your vessel to man habba wa dab, to anyone and anything. Anybody calls you, hey, do you want to come this? Yes. You don't have no sense of, okay, who is going to be there? What are we going to be talking about? Because what we are going to be talking about, who is this type of people? Because what they are going to be talking about, I'm going to be affected with. Who is going to be giving dawah in this sitting? Is it me or is it them to me? So do I really want to go? Is this really aligned with my life mission? And this is exactly why the next topic is, without a life mission, life becomes overwhelming. And the reality is that when you don't have a life mission, you are very easy influenced. So anybody tells you, hey, come, we're going to go do this, we're going to go do that, and you go straight away. And you don't realize that you are giving more time to people or to other things like social media than you are giving to your own life mission. And that's what's holding you back from accomplishing and being your next version of yourself, because you don't have a life mission and you are not emotionally attached enough to a life mission. And that's why every day you wake up and you're confused. You don't know what you're going to do that day. Everything feels heavy. You're not excited of doing the things that are difficult, which are directly aligned to accomplishing more in life and are directly aligned to your life mission. In this chapter, we are going to talk about life mission. Now, everyone and each of us should have these below filled up behind his bathroom door and should read it every morning and night while brushing to stay focused. Now this thing, as you can see, is the template. And this template, as I have mentioned to you earlier in the beginning of the video, is what you can be able to fill up and how to fill it up. And as you can see, it's quite in depth here, and some triggering questions that will allow you to determine your life mission in order for you to have something like this behind your bathroom. So every time you brush your teeth, you are looking at your life mission. Now, what happens and how is this so powerful? Now, when you have a life mission, and I will show you an example of my life mission and how this looked in 2023 for me. Now, in 2023, I had this behind the door of my bathroom, and as you can see here, it says life mission. Memorize the Quran, master a foundational text in each Islamic subject, create a curriculum to teach Arabic from beginner to proficient levels, help 1,000 students learn Arabic, study important Arabic books, okay, so etc. This is my life mission. Now, how is this so powerful? Every morning when I look at this and I'm brushing my teeth, if that day, whatever comes to and tries to get into my system from all of these infectious distractions that I go through, that come to you as you go on your day, every time these things come to mind, I have been reminding myself every morning and every night as I'm brushing my teeth of my life mission. So now if somebody invites me to something that has nothing to do with my life mission, hey, how you doing? I want to go to this Pokemon cards event and I don't have anyone to go, so I just thought of you are the only friend that is free. Would you come with me? Now at this point is when I would straight away say, no, I'm not coming to no Pokemon. What am I going to, how does that align to any of the points of my life mission? So many of us have this problem. We don't know how to say no. And the reason why you don't know how to say no is because you don't have a reason to not say no. But when you have a life mission, you have the biggest reason on why to say no, because that thing in those 3, 4, 5 hours that I'm going to spend with you, first of all, I'm going to carry a heavy emotional and baggage of thoughts for the next however many hours after that fair, because I'm going to be talking to you. I'm going to be stimulated by all of this music, all of this, whatever it might be, which if there's music there, why would you even go? And things that generally don't align with your life. Now, with this life mission, as I will show you how to determine your yearly goals, when you're reading you're reading your life mission, then your yearly goals or this year goal, and then you read in your daily mission statements. So as you can see here, your daily mission statements will be something like, every day I make sure that so for example, if your life mission is to memorize the Quran, every day I make sure that I revise the Quran, because this habit moves me closer to fulfilling my life mission. Every day I avoid, whatever it might be, my phone, because it pulls me away from who I'm meant to become. Every evening, I, for example, make sure that I go to sleep early, because to stay grounded and connected to my mission, because otherwise I wake up next morning and I'm exhausted. I choose to, for example, not see my friends throughout the week, because I am fully focused and fully sacrificing my time, my life mission. Okay, and like that. So when you have something like this in the back of your bathroom, and you're reading this every day, at least twice a day, in the morning when you're brushing your teeth, and the night when you're brushing your teeth, you're wasting 2, 3, 5 minutes anyways brushing your teeth. Why not read this at the same time? When you do this, you are so emotionally connected to your life mission that it's so easy to stay focused on the things you need to be doing. Now, furthermore, when you then determine the things you need to be doing on a day-to-day basis, you then clearly know what is it that you need to be doing on a day-to-day basis. As soon as you wake up, you know straight away what to get to. Now, when you don't have a life mission and you haven't wrote it down clearly, every day you wake up and you don't know exactly what you are going to accomplish that day. So what happens is that you do things based on the distractions that come to you. You watch a podcast about how to make money, now you want to make money. You watch a podcast on how to seek knowledge, now you want to seek knowledge. You watch a podcast or a video on how to learn Arabic and the importance, now you want to learn Arabic. You watch a video or a documentary about this pro fighter, now you want to do pro fighting. And you don't have a life mission. You haven't sat down and said, this is going to be my life mission, this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. And because this is my life mission, it means that every day I need to be doing this. And this year I will be focusing on this. So next year I will focus on that. So in 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, I will have accomplished my life mission. So this is why a life mission is so crucial. And if you don't have a clear life mission, as we said, you will always feel overwhelmed and stressed. That's because life will constantly hit you with ideas, opportunities, and distractions. There are thousands of things you could do, but you cannot do them all. You have to decide what were you created to do. You can accomplish anything you want, but you cannot accomplish everything. So you have to pick one thing. What is it that you are going to pick, and you are going to sacrifice your energy and your life? So a life mission simplifies everything. Once you know exactly what you want to accomplish in 40, 50, or 60 years, your daily routine becomes obvious. You wake up with excitement and direction, because each day is now a step toward that big goal. And this is what we are saying. When you have this, every day you wake up, you know exactly what to do. From a life mission, once you have it, it's very easy to then determine a daily routine. To live with purpose, just reverse engineer your goals. So ask yourself, what is my life mission? Okay, my life mission is X. How many daily hours of focus and energy do I have? Okay, based on the responsibilities you have. Based on that, what can I realistically achieve every day? What does that add up to in a year? Okay, so for example, if your life mission is memorizing the Quran, let's say your life mission is to memorize the Quran, you find that you can memorize 1 page a day, because 1 page might take you, 1 hour, 2 hours, so that's something you can do every day. So that means that if you say, okay, I can do 1 page a day, If you multiply that for 365 days a year, and the Quran has about 604 pages, that means that if you divide 604 pages by 365 days, which is 1 year, it will take you about 1 year and 8 months to complete the memorization of the Quran. So with consistency and planning, your life mission is now possible. All you have to do is determine what is your life mission and how much realistic time can I put towards accomplishing this life mission. Is it memorizing the Quran? How many pages can I memorize? How much can I revise? Is it accomplishing a career? Okay, how much time can I give to this career right now? Okay, how can I make sure that I pass this year, that I pass all my exams? What is going to be my daily routine? What is the things I need to sacrifice and say no? If my life mission is to author a book in this particular topic, then how am I going to do it? If my life mission is to, build a business that continuously makes me $1 million a year, what is it that I have to sacrifice today and say no to? And how much time can I sacrifice toward learning about business and actually executing on this knowledge that I'm learning? So don't guess, just do the math. Clarity will remove stress. When you have clarity about your life mission, it will remove stress. And when you do the math, your mission becomes a plan, and a plan becomes a daily routine, and the routine then becomes your lifestyle. This is what you do on a day-to-day basis. And Ibn al-Jawzi, he very beautifully said, if you believe you were created for small things, your life will be small. But if you believe you were created for great things, your ambition will break limits and reach the highest goals. So define your purpose. Let it be high and hard to reach. That's fine, as long as you take one step toward it every single day. So as you can see, our scholars, they spoke about having high ambitions. Just set your life purpose. Live with purpose. There shouldn't be one day and there shouldn't be 1 year where you live, you wake up, and you don't wake up with intention and you don't have something that you need to do that day. You should have a life mission that you read every day and that you remember every day, because otherwise you're going to forget. You're going to think about it and you're going to think it's in the back of your head. No, I already know. But then you are going to always be distracted by other things. And as soon as a good opportunity is going to come, it's going to be very easy to then go ahead and get distracted by that opportunity. And many times you won't realize, but that opportunity, because you got distracted and because for just one day you forgot about your life mission, because that one day now you have put yourself and you have push yourself backward of years just because you got distracted one day, and that day you attended this particular event or whatever it might be, and now all of a sudden you got inspired to do something else, and you, because you didn't that morning remembered your life mission, now you got distracted. So you started doing this other business, you started doing this other venture, and you generally forgot your life mission. So this is why having your life mission is very important. And like I said, pay attention throughout this video, because I'm going to give you access to this template to set your life mission and a video of me doing it with you. So we make sure that after this video, we make sure that we have a life mission and we start living life with purpose. And again, there shouldn't be one day in your life that you wake up and you don't read this life mission and you don't do something with purpose. Every single thing you are doing on a day-to-day basis needs to be based on purpose and needs to be based on your life mission. Now, chapter 3, align your life mission with Allah's pleasure. Now, when your goal is the afterlife, al-akhirah, and your dunya, and the dunya is not what you intend to get and to achieve, everything will come to you from the dunya. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever makes the afterlife his main concern, Allah will place richness in his heart, i.e. he will be content, organize his life, and the world will come to him whether it wants to or not, i.e. the materialistic things of this dunya. But whoever makes the dunya his concern, Allah will place poverty before his eyes, scatter his affairs, i.e. he will be stressed, he will be unfocused, he won't know what he is generally, what he is trying to achieve in life, and he will only get what was already written for him, i.e. he will not get anything extra from the bounty of Allah Azza wa Jal. I want to bring you back to when I was 18 years old. When I was 18 years old, I went to ask for the hand of this woman. And I was sitting, I remember, in front of a lot of the members of the family. And the mother, she asked me a question. She asked me something along the lines of, because obviously I had dropped out of school at 16, so I don't have no degree. She said something along the lines, you don't have no degree, you don't have no job, and you don't know necessarily how you're going to earn money in the future. So how are you going to take care of her? And I remember at that time, I said, it doesn't make sense to me that right now my goal is to fully sacrifice my whole life. I stopped at that time playing basketball, and with a skill that was generally, bringing a lot of eyes to my skills, i.e. I was good at playing basketball. Likewise, I had become in the world of crumb dancing, I had become the European top dancer and winner in 2009 individually, in 2010 representing France, and all of that I achieved it in no time, like in 3 years. And so I, at that time, I already had the dunya, whether it was the desires of the woman, whether it was the money, whether it was the fame, and things that were filling up my nafs and my pride and so I could have continued to live that lifestyle, but Allah Azza wa Jal guided me, and without getting too much into detail, Allah Azza wa Jal guided me into wanting to seek knowledge for the rest of my life. And only this, and I have seen these, recently we have gone with the team at Andalus, we went to Australia and we did a tour. I gave like between 20 to 25 talks about the Arabic language and its importance. And it was across 5 cities. We travel a lot. It was 20 days. It was very tiring. But one thing that I've realized is that if Allah Azza wa Jal shows you the sweetness of what it is to seek knowledge and how it affects your nafs and your iman, only that is rizq. And many people don't have that. So Allah Azza wa Jal showed me this by His fadl and His bounty when I was 18. And all I wanted to do is seek knowledge. So I told the mother of this woman, it's impossible to me and it doesn't click in my head that I will give my whole life to seek knowledge of Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah Azza wa Jal will not have my back in the future. I'm still surprised at myself that myself, at 18, I was thinking like that. But Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, Ya Yahya, khudh al-kitaba biquwwa wa ataynahu al-hukma sabiyya. Oh Yahya, take this book firmly, right? What was descended to him, the scripture. وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا. And we gave him the intellect and the wisdom when he was still a young child, because he took the book firmly. So when Allah Azza wa Jalla gives you access to knowledge of the book, the Quran and the Sunnah, you become wiser, your intellect forms, and it gives you more maturity. So subhanAllah, when I aligned my life purpose with the pleasure of Allah, which was to seek knowledge, to remove the ignorance of myself, and to then teach it to the people, starting with my family. When I made this my life mission, I started seeing al-ajab al-ujab in my life. I started seeing incredible things happening and astonishing things happening in my life. From the time I remember when I then married that woman, and I was in Egypt, and I remember she was pregnant with my first child, and I didn't have no money. And I wanted to send her back to her family so she could give birth next to her family. And I didn't have no money. And obviously I could have asked my family, but my family at that time, they weren't in a position to pay for that amount to go and travel. And at the same time, I didn't want to ask either, because then it would make them say even more, look, you're in Egypt, you're wasting your time, you're seeking this knowledge, go and get a degree in this and that. So I wanted to show that this is the best thing to do in life. So I remember one day I was coming back from class, and there's this brother that I barely know. I just seen him around, but I didn't know him. He came to me, he gave me an envelope, and he gave me this envelope and said, don't open it here, go back home and open it then. So I was surprised. I went back home, I opened it, and it was 1,000 euros, which was enough for me to pay for the ticket for my wife to go give birth to next to her family. And so this is a small example, but from the biggest example, as I was in Egypt, I have tried many different things to take care of myself financially while I was in Egypt. I've tried a student accommodation, finding apartments for students and so on. I've tried learning how to sew and then making clothes to sell them online. I have tried to take things from Egypt and go to the West and sell them in front of the masajid. I've tried to teach to teach Arabic in 2016, and none of those things were working until I was forced to go back to London and just work as a delivery guy. And so while I was there, I because of a brother that I saw in Egypt that was a graphic designer, and he was working from home. So that really caught my attention, because working from home is something that is, as a student of knowledge, if I have location freedom and all I need is a Wi-Fi, I can travel to this country, seek knowledge from this teacher, then travel to another country, seek knowledge from another teacher, then travel to another country, seek knowledge from another teacher. And so it really caught my attention. So as I was delivering food, I was learning about online business. At the end of 2017, I went back to Egypt, and I wanted to restart my, I had to spend about a year working in London, because I generally didn't have no more money. I was sleeping in my mom's council apartment.
We stress here in the house, it's cold outside, so we stay the whole day in the house. And I only go out in the night to work, and we at my mom's house. My father's coming tomorrow, my grandmother's here, my brother's here. 2 kids, we sleep in the living room. It's just too much, man. But yeah, father's coming tomorrow. Have to work, give the money back to my mom, then
living room. So imagine it was my mom, my grandma, my brother, my 2 kids, my wife, and me. And I was living in the living room. Throughout the day, it was the living room. Throughout the night, I would just put a mattress on the floor, and we will all sleep on a king size bed, my wife and my 2 kids. And throughout the day, I will go and deliver food and so on. And so obviously I didn't have no money. In 2017, I went back to Egypt for a week. Okay, now I had some money. I was buying, furniture. And then the police deported us from the country. Okay, that we were outside in the night. Long story short, they took us. We went to prison for 6 days. And so what happened is that I was deported back to Spain. So now I couldn't finish my faculty diploma in Kulliyat al-Sharia in Al-Azhar. And I was back at pretty much quote unquote zero back in Spain. And that year, I decided to go all in business. So I learned about business. I read books, about 12 books, and I started learning as a knowledge, to the point where I told my family, go back to your parents and let me figure this business thing out until I have money, so we can go back to a Muslim country and continue our studies and so on. So I was in my grandmother's apartment because I was able to not pay rent because it was an owned apartment. And my wife at that time was living with her parents, so I didn't have to pay rent for that either because it was an own house. So that gave me the time to spend the whole year learning about business. So I kid you not, when I left Egypt, when I was deported, I remember telling a brother, all I need is $2,000 and working online to continue my studies. So that was my initial intention, to seek knowledge of Islam. In that year, I started trying out a bunch of things: affiliate marketing, consulting, Amazon FBA, retail arbitrage, many different things. And at one point, bifadlillah azza wa jalla, I got to a point where I was making that money that I intended to make, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a month. And it took me a little bit to actually realize where I got. But as soon as I realized it, I straight away brought my family back with about $1,000 in my bank account. I took my family, my 2 kids and my wife, and I went to Mauritania. And so I went to Mauritania just expecting about $1,000 a month to $2,000 a month. And my business I was still building it. But I trusted, I now know how this works. So in my mind, and my expectation is I'm just gonna live in Mauritania with about $1,000, $2,000. And even $2,000, it's too much to, I didn't have $2,000 coming in. I told myself, I think at that time it was 500 pounds, which is close to $1,000, 500 sterling pounds. And I had in mind that I would grow it, because I told myself I understand now how to grow it. And when I got to Mauritania, I remember it was May 2019, from one month to another, the revenue of my business went from those little hundreds that I was making a month to over $10,000. And since then, it never went down. That was never my intention. It was never my intention to make that type of money. All I wanted and I needed is enough for me to live comfortably and continue to seek knowledge. So with this, what I want to say is that Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, يَعْلَمِ اللَّهُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ خَيْرًا يُؤْتِكُمْ خَيْرًا. That if Allah Azza wa Jalla sees good in your hearts, He will give you good. And if you go back to the ayah in the Quran in Surah Yunus, where Allah Azza wa Jalla says and explains that Yunus or the Qawm of Yunus, the people of Yunus, were the only that saw the punishment and then repented, and Allah accepted their repentance. So everybody, for example, like Qawm Fir'aun, the people of Fir'aun, they saw the punishment and then they thought, Al-Ana, then they wanted to believe when they saw the water closing on them. But Allah Azza wa Jal, all the other nations, as soon as they saw the punishment coming to them, He never forgave them, even though they repented then. But Qawm Yunus were different, went to them and said to them, if you don't worship Allah Azza wa Jal alone, a punishment will come. Then Yunus, and I'm summarizing here, Yunus got eaten by the al-hut, got eaten by the fish. So now the people, his people, started to believe and started to see signs of a punishment coming. So the tafsir, in Tafsir ibn Kathir, if you go back to it, you will see that he explains that the Qawm of Yunus for 40 nights, as reports say, they sacrificed their whole life to repent to Allah Azza wa Jal humbly and crying to Allah Azza wa Jal. So imagine a whole nation now, all devoted to asking Allah Azza wa Jal for forgiveness. They all upon the same thing. Nobody is getting distracted by anything. To the point where the tafsir says they even changed their clothes, and they even separated the moms of the animals from the child. So every single creature in that nation was crying and was in agony and sadness and in this state of tahqir and in this state of weakness, asking Allah Azza wa Jal to accept their repentance for 40 nights. And then Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, فَلَمَّا آمَنُوا كشفنا عنهم عذاب الخزي في الحياة الدنيا ومتعناهم إلى حين. And this ayah is so powerful because I truly identify with this ayah, because that's what I was doing for one whole year. I just truly believed it was possible. It was possible to build an online business that would give me just a couple of $1,000s so I could go and continue my studies and have location freedom, only needing a Wi-Fi. And I truly believed it. And by the way, it's a good opportunity here to say that if you wanna, in Andalus Institute, I teach as well students how to earn online by marketing Andalus Institute. And this student, if you guys check the card, this student has made so far, at this point more, but at the time of recording this interview, he made $12,000 all online from this method. So this is something we teach at Andalus Institute as well. Go and watch this where is it going to be? I think it's going to be here. Go and watch this interview. And the reason why this identify a lot with this ayah is because Allah Azza wa Jal, He says that after 40 nights, He said, فَلَمَّا آمَنُوا, when they believed, i.e. after 40 nights. So you need to show Allah Azza wa Jal that you have this khair and that you really want it. And it would take sometimes 40 nights. And sometimes, like me, it would take 12 months. And when Allah sees it, and Allah tested me because He gave me what I was intending, and as soon as I got it, I said, you know what, I'm going to Mauritania. And I stuck to what I really wanted, even though there was 12 months that passed by. So this to say that you need to truly show Allah Azza wa Jal that you really want it, and that you really want this change. And I remember likewise when I wanted to learn the Arabic language, I remember in nights of Taraweeh, that is the only dua I was making. All I wanted is learn Arabic. It's the only dua that I was spending the most time on, all the nights of Taraweeh. And I truly asked Allah Azza wa Jal, and then Allah Azza wa Jal opened the doors for me to go and learn the Arabic language. And here I am today teaching hundreds of people and simplifying the path of learning the Arabic language for hundreds of people. So all of this to say, my beloved brother, my beloved sister, make your mission what the Salaf told us is best. If your life mission is to seek knowledge, not fame, not dunya, but seek knowledge, to remove the ignorance from you, Allah will take care of your rizq. This isn't theory. I'm living proof. If you show Allah Azza wa Jal that you really want to please Him and do what the Salaf said that is the best thing to do. And why wouldn't I do what the Salaf said that is the best thing to do when Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, وَالسَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. That the first ones who went to Al-Madinah with the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, from the Muhajirin, from those who were living already in Medina, and the Muhajirin, those who came with the Prophet, and those who followed bi-ihsan, like the Salaf, the later generations, رَضِيَ اللَّهُ anhum wa radu an. Allah was pleased with them and they were pleased with what Allah Azza wa Jal decreed it for them. So these people, Allah Azza wa Jal told us already that He is pleased with what they have accomplished. So why would I do anything different in my life than this? And this is clearly what the Salaf have said that is the best thing to do. Like Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, he said, لا أعلم بعد النبوة درجة أفضل من بث العلم. I don't know of any status better than spreading knowledge after prophethood. Obviously, you won't spread knowledge except you have it and except you sought it. Likewise, Imam al-Shafi'i said, seeking knowledge is better than optional prayer. There is nothing better after the obligations than seeking knowledge. Whoever wants the dunya should seek knowledge. Whoever wants the akhirah should seek knowledge. So seeking knowledge after your obligatory prayers is the best thing you can do. It's better for you to spend a whole night seeking knowledge to spend a whole night praying Qiyam al-Layl. And that's why Imam Shafi'i said that it's better than optional prayer. And this is the reason why I emphasize a lot on learning the Arabic language, because there is no scholar that has reached knowledge except through Arabic. Every science in the deen is built on the Arabic language. And if you want the religion, you have to start. This is why Imam al-Shatibi, he said the Sharia is in Arabic. It's in Arabic. It cannot be truly understood except by someone who truly understands the Arabic language. If someone is a beginner in Arabic, he is a beginner in understanding Islam. If he is average in Arabic, his understanding of Islam will also be average. And whoever doesn't reach the level of the Imams in Arabic, his understanding is not a proof and his opinion is not accepted. So here I want you to focus on, if he is average in Arabic, his understanding of Islam will also be average. Just as clear as that. So learning the Arabic language, if you truly want to follow the steps of the early generations, is the first step that you should be doing. And this is why you cannot skip Arabic. If seeking knowledge is the most important thing, the learning Arabic is the first door you must. There's no shortcut. Even if your goal is to memorize the Quran, what is the point of memorizing if you don't understand it? So this is the most important thing to do, is seek knowledge, as we all understand it. And as Imam Al-Shatibi said, without the Arabic language, seeking knowledge will always stay at the average level. If you are average on Arabic, you are going to be average on the seeking of knowledge and in that path. So let's do a summary. This is how you can take control of your life. Your environment infects you. So be extremely careful what you consume on a day-to-day basis, who you sit with, what you watch, and what you listen to. If knowledge is the end goal, then make sure that what you're doing is mostly related to it. The second thing is that without a life mission, my brother and my sister, you are just going to be a leaf in this life. So it's very important that for you to live without stress, it's very important that you set a life mission and that you stick to it on a day-to-day basis. You read it, you go over it, and you reset every day the system to remember what you are here for, to not waste even a minute. And then make sure that your life mission aligns with the pleasure of Allah, which, as we said, if you want to follow the Salaf, the most important thing that you should be doing in life is seeking knowledge. And that's what the Salaf said that is the thing that you should be doing, and it's the best thing to be doing. And of course that starts with the Arabic language. So it's very important that if you want to take this seeking of knowledge seriously, that you start with the Arabic language. If you start with the Arabic language, the rest of everything will be easy. And 1 year of focus will have you learn the Arabic language and be steps ahead of those people who just be doing a little bit of everything everywhere. I truly hope that you have benefited from this guide. Please let me know in the comments what you would like to see and what is it that you have liked exactly. And if you have watched until here, I would like to see who are those true loyal viewers and those who really want to take their life to the next level. So tell me in the comments and comment this specific thing. This is how I'm going to take control over my life, bi'idhnillah, or inshallah. I'll see you in the comments. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.